So many of y'all want to know, why do baby boomer parents abuse their children the way that they do? Sidebar, this also can apply to the silent generation, which is the generation your grandparents, your great grandparents, they're the ones that raised the baby boomers and taught them how to be narcissistic and transitional. Most, if not all, of the silent generation are highly narcissistic, covert narcissists, the ones that be in the church silent, and they pretend to be empathetic, loving, and caring, but they're really abusive and demonic behind closed doors. They raised the boomers. Okay, let's get that out the way. And yes, I will say 50% of Gen X, which is my generation, Gen X, half of them were narcissistic, and they repeated the behaviors of their baby boomer parents. But then there's the other half of Gen X, like me. We were abused, and we don't want to repeat. We hate the fact that people are out there being abused. We know what it feels like to be abused, and we would never repeat that behavior and pass it down to our children. We're actually trying to break the toxic cycle that the baby boomer generation has passed down to us. I just want to get that out the way before I keep going with this video. The reason why your baby boomer parents are so fucking abusive and have always been abusive since you were born into this world, hear me and hear me good. We all can agree that most, if not all of them, are narcissists. Full-blown narcissistic personality disorder. Yes, some of them may be autistic. I believe my mother is autistic, and she passed it down to her children. I don't believe that I'm the only child. I believe my siblings possibly could be autistic as a result of my mother. But that does not take away from the fact that she's a sociopath. Narcissists and sociopaths can have traits of autism. And we have to realize that our baby boomer parents, when they're narcissistic like that, narcissism will step in the way of them getting themselves evaluated and assessed for any mental health disorder, any developmental disability. They just, because they feel they're perfectionists and they have a godlike complex, they feel that they're immune to being or having any type of mental health issues. And they are repulsed at anyone that has a mental health disorder, mental illness, a disability, even if it's their own children. They will despise their own children. This is why they don't put their children in therapy. This is why they don't get their children evaluated. Now, I'm talking about the baby boomers, because if we speak about today, 2025, 2024, 25, these toxic parents today that are narcissistic, they find it cool to exploit their autistic children. That's something the baby boomer generation did not do. The baby boomer generation, when they learned that their child had behavioral issues, whether that's ADHD or autism, they kept it hidden from the public because they were embarrassed of their children. They didn't want nobody knowing their child had a disability. So they just flat out ignored the fact their child needed any type of therapy. They refused to take the teacher's suggestions in early childhood. The teacher might have said, your child, we see behavioral problems. You may want to get your child evaluated. Well, if your mother and father were baby boomers and highly narcissistic, they told the teacher to go to hell. We're not taking your advice. We're not going to get our child evaluated. We don't see nothing wrong. We'll beat it out the child, or we'll just, the child will eventually grow out of it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's because your baby boomer parents, therapy is like kryptonite to a narcissist. Narcissists will never, if they do go to therapy, they're just going to toy with the therapist. They're not going to apply anything that is learned in therapy, and they're going to manipulate. If they go to couples therapy, they're just going to manipulate their partner and try to manipulate the therapist. Therapy is like kryptonite to these motherfuckers. So y'all got to understand, if your baby boomer parents are narcissists, and like I said, most of them are, they will reject the ideal of their children getting therapy to address their autism, ADHD, or dyslexia, any type of developmental disability. What is that? Cerebral palsy. They despise the fact that their child even has a disability to begin with, and they will ignore the fact that the child could have possibly inherited. It could be genetics. So I totally believe my mother carries that autism trait, and she's passed it on to her fucking children and possibly her grandchildren. But because of her pride, her ego, her arrogance, and her narcissism, her sociopathy, she's a sociopath. Ain't nothing wrong with me. Fuck that. Y'all need therapy. I don't need therapy. You need therapy. That's the behavior of baby boomer parents, most of them. The reason why your baby boomer parents abuse you is because Their narcissism will only allow them to parent in terms of it being a transaction. Your parents are transactional. Narcissists are transactional. You have to understand what the word transactional means. It means that they lack empathy. As a narcissist, they lack empathy. They are not emotional. They have no emotional connection to their children, which means naturally they will not know how to nurture their child, nor do they want to be taught. Now, however, if they get in the public eye around people and they have to perform to protect their fake image, they're going to pretend to be loving and caring. They're going to pretend to have empathy. They're going to pretend to be wonderful parents, knowing deep down inside that they're horrible human beings and they're abusive towards their children behind closed doors. Fake empathy. They are excellent actors and excellent performers. They are performative 100%. Very fake. Fake facade. They got to look perfect to everybody in their community, perfect to the rest of the family, perfect to their co-workers, their church community, frauds and fakes. And that even means pretending to be amazing parents, amazing soccer mom, amazing dad, football dad, but they're beating the fuck out their kids and torturing them. They're not getting their children therapy for their autism or ADHD. They want their children to suffer in silence. And they will not do anything to help their children, be protected from other bullies, whether the bullies are in the family, the bullies are at school. Baby boomer parents are transactional. So they feel that providing their children with the bare minimum necessities, food, water, clothing, and shelter, they feel that's all that is required to be a good parent. And it is not. It is not. So when you become an adult and you start understanding that your baby boomer parent is an actual narcissist and they never loved you, they lack empathy, and everything about your relationship with your baby boomer parent was simply a transaction, no emotion, just transaction. I gave birth to you. Now what are you going to do for me? Your baby boomer parent will feel entitled to control your life as an adult. They will feel entitled to your salary, your money, all your achievements, your successes as an adult. Even if you become a parent, well, I raised you, so I feel entitled to have a say-so in how you raise my grandchildren. I will even overstep you and take charge of my grandchildren to show them that I'm a better parent than you, even though you gave birth to them. I'm going to overstep my boundaries and shit on you as a parent. And even though I'm the grandparent and I don't know my place because I don't know shit about boundaries, I'm going to teach your children to respect me more than they respect you. Baby boomer parents only understand transactional love. And that is a love that has no empathy, no emotion, no nothing. It's about what can you do for me? Since I gave birth to you, you made my life hell. I didn't want to be responsible. I didn't want to be obligated to take care of you. I only gave birth to you to keep up with appearances. I only gave birth to you because I had pressure from my family to to create my own family. And I only gave birth because society said it was the cool thing to do. But I'm actually fucking miserable as a parent. And I hated the fact that I had to raise you. But because I raised you, now I'm looking at you as an adult. You're an adult making money and you got your own life and you're successful. I feel entitled to everything you have. You owe me. This is a transaction. It was never about love. Since I raised you and gave birth to you, you owe me for that. Now give me your life. Give me your money. Give me your pension. Give me your children. You owe me. And that is why your baby boomer parents abuse you.